Hi, I'm Terence Smith, Red Smith's son, and I really want to thank the Associated Press sports editors for creating the Red Smith Award, 40 plus years ago, and in selecting my father as the first recipient. And I can tell you he really appreciated it because he valued more than the Pulitzer, more than things, the appreciation of his peers, especially, when it was delivered over a glass of scotch at the end of a long day in the press box. But second, I really want to add congratulations to this year's winner, Tom Boswell. Uh, he's a friend and even a neighbor of mine, and I've been reading him for decades. He's a lyrical writer, especially about baseball, as you all know, and I think richly deserves the award. If anything, you're late with it. And finally, let me share just a small story that my father used to tell about how he became a sports writer, an accidental sports writer, as it turned out. Apparently, it was around 1930, and Pop, as we all called him, Pop was a newbie fresh out of Notre Dame working on the copy desk at the St. Louis Star-Times, one of the many papers he claims he killed over the years by working for them. But in any event, he told me he was making $40.50 a week at that time, and a scandal erupted in the newsroom when the editor discovered that his three-man sports department was on the take. So he fired all three of them, and suddenly he had no sports department and he needed to create one overnight. So, as the story goes, and as my father told it, the editor called my father over from the copy desk and he said, Smith, I hear you're pretty good on sports. And my father said, just what the average fan knows, sir. And the editor said, Smith, are you honest? And my father says he replied, I hope so, sir. Well, let me ask you this, Smith. If a fight promoter offered you $10 to promote his fight in the paper, what about that? My father said there was a long pause before he answered. He looked at the editor and he said, $10 is a lot of money, sir. The editor laughed and said, that's an honest answer, Smith. Show up to sports in the morning. And there, you know, assuming this story is true, which I think it largely is, that's how he became a sports writer and remained so for 50 plus years. So let me just turn it over to the next generation, to my son, Chris Smith, um, uh, Red's grandson, who incidentally is in Maui and will is speaking from Maui and works as a manager with the PGA Tour Enterprises Inc., organizing the Century Golf Tournament, first one of the year in January. So, Chris, take it away.
Thanks, Terry. Great to be speaking to all of you at the Associated Press Sports Editors Awards. When I was 11 years old, Red Smith, my grandfather, took me to a Redskins game. Although I was only 11, I realized he was a big deal when we sat in the owner's box next to Jack Kent Cooke. I had to sit up, look over the counter, even to see the edge, to see the field. And Red talked to me and laughed, and we had a good time. And I thought to myself, doesn't he need to write some notes or something? He didn't seem concerned, and we had fun. He took me into the locker room, and I was a boy in heaven. Later that year, we watched the Redskins, now the Commanders, defeat the Miami Dolphins when John Riggins stiff-armed Don McNeil on a 4th-and-1 to score, sealing the victory. Ironically, all these years later, I'm making this video thinking of Tom Boswell was probably at that original game with us, writing for the Post, and maybe he saw us walking around RFK Stadium. Congrats, Tom. You are a pleasure to read. I'm sure Red would be happy to see you and everyone else here gathered to celebrate not him, but sports writers. Thank you.